Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
We run the clock, Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football time of year, don't stop.
You're adding this guy.
Just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16, serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Ain't no bias. Chris Zorich breaking truth. Traded in the golden helmet in the past for a suit. With the tape, never lies. College ball, he's a stoop. Breaking the top 16, not the top 32.
I don't mean to cut you off like a Zorich jersey, but you ain't really grinding unless the jersey dirty. Hit the running back like a Mack truck behind the 30-yard line. It's game time. My team ride you off the sideline.
You look at Chris like this with a fact checklist, going over college teams like a busy scientist. Steve streaking from his head like in his playing days. Super 16 polls on his show straight away.
It's the FBS, the best of the best from the ACC to the SEC. Pac-12, Big Ten, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and the Big 12. Open your eyelids, who the best like the clock? Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football time of year, don't stop. With Christopher Zorich, just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16, serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 13 of the Super 16 poll show. Before we get started, let's bring in Philatoshi because I want to make sure his tummy's okay. Phil, is your tummy okay?
I'm still recovering from the stomach illness.
Your tummy ache?
Yeah, it's been a tough
Okay.
go.
I just wish I can kind of like rub on your head a little bit, you know, like grandparents used to do.
Is that how they got rid of the stomach? They rubbed on your head?
Well, yeah, that and Windex. I mean, that solves everything.
Yeah, I appreciate Cherie and you stepping up in my absence.
Yes, it was actually the show went really smooth. I was kind of nervous because
I heard you were trying to replace me.
I don't know. I mean, and we did it on time. It came in on time, almost less than an hour.
Jeepers creepers.
Which would have been a record for us.
It would have been a record.
Yes, it would have been.
Well, did you talk about any dragons or anything like that?
We saved
Star Wars?
We saved that for your conversation.
Oh, okay. It wasn't on the script.
Wow.
Exactly, Chris.
Wow. However,
I'm glad to be back.
Thank the doctor guys, the wellness folks or Walgreens that you're okay.
Yeah, all of the above.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
My wife, everyone was taking care of me. I'm back though. I feel
That's good
feel better.
because we miss you. Even though we had a kick-ass show, we actually missed you.
I
Is
appreciate
that correct? Didn't we miss him?
Just a
a
little.
little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay, all right. Apparently, you
Just
are
a
replaceable.
tip.
You are replaceable.
Everybody's replaceable, Chris.
Apparently.
Yes. College football though is not.
That is correct. But before we get started,
Yes.
let's thank the National Football Foundation folks and the
Absolutely.
Football Writers Association of America for allowing us to do this. We're on week 13. We have a couple more weeks to go, but it was a humdinger. But before we get started,
Yes.
how about those Bears?
Oh, Chris, you had to bring it back.
Oh,
My Thanksgiving was so much fun. In the new house, high school ball, we got to go to the Thanksgiving game and then college football.
Was that a picture of your crew that went to the high school game, or you sent the picture of?
Yeah, I saw a few of my former players I coached at the game,
Okay.
Teammates. It wasn't packed house, and then the boys got to go down with their grandpa and experience it. My nephew was playing as a true freshman. He was starting varsity.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, so he's a baller over there. So it was nice to go out there, see that. Then
Now, is this the
Thanksgiving.
field that's named after your dad?
No, it was at the opponent's field, the rival.
Okay.
Next year it'll be there.
Okay.
So they switch it every year.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was nice to get out there. It was a beautiful day. My wife was cooking. She hooked it up.
Nice.
And then, the weekend, obviously, and then the Bears. I go from 0 to 60 because it's the best of times and the worst of times
Oh, my
in
Lord.
Jim's book club.
Oh, my Lord.
Right? The reality for me is I see things differently than the statisticians and all of these other minutia manipulators of truth. I know me and Shane were fired up and people get all nervous.
Of truth. I like that one.
I'm
Manipulators of
glad.
truth.
And the reality is I'm concerned about Eberflus. I'm concerned because I don't like the politics and I don't like the rundown of positives after an embarrassing defeat. I think that's the worst case. That's a politician's role. Well, I know I said I wasn't going to raise taxes, but look, I saved you here and I saved you over there, but I didn't save you in the wallet. But listen, I got to, it's a magic trick. Don't just be truthful and honest about your responsibility, that you didn't coach well and that you have to do better and you will. I don't understand who's and what's going on there in regards to Eberflus. And it concerns me because Justin Fields has covered over a lot of warts. He's covered over a lot of warts. Now, is Eberflus a done deal? We got to fire? No, but my job is to speak the truth of what I see. If I sat there and just went with the flow, there wouldn't be the first guy to call out Matt Nagy. And that was me saying this guy's a shoe sale. He's not a head coach. He's not ready.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't understand. Now here I am with this call. I'm going to give him another year, or two, whatever it takes. I just don't write in these excuses for, he doesn't have talent. This is the NFL, Chris. You've played in the NFL. You've lost and won in the NFL. There's no excuse for not knowing assignments. There's no excuse for being out leveraged in alignments and some of the stuff you're preaching. And if that doesn't get better and it continues to happen week and week, and then you're playing the same personnel that stink and you're not trying to create competition, then you're just going down a loser's path. So I don't care how much talent you have or how many high draft picks you have. You and I know that the draft is a 50-50 crapshoot anyway, whether you're picking first or 31st. You are gambling on a guy and whether or not he's going to transition into the NFL. It's that way all the time. All the time. That's why we all see these stories of undrafted. So it's important that A, the GM is good, but B, I don't care. You pick second or we got the second pick. We got 130 million. What's out there for you to spend on talent-wise? Who fits? Who loves the game of football that you're bringing in here? Who are you going to hold them accountable? Are they going to play up? These questions are very fair. And when I saw what happened with the New York goddamn Jets, right? They couldn't put 3 points up against New England the week before that you smashed, right? You smashed New England. Then I have my concerns. And if, like Mike D said, if you come from a place where you're tanking for higher picks, that's just a loser's bet and a loser's culture. So he's got to do. I saw his presser today, and it sounded like he heard exactly what I was criticizing him of, and he was cleaning up his act, so to speak, today in his presser, holding people accountable, hinting that there might have to be some changes. Hello, this is. I mean, I've been seeing changes that need to be made on the offensive line since week 1.
Right.
So, and I think people know. It's like you can't. I don't know. I've never. The maniacal head coach, a la, goes into Ohio State with everybody against him and injuries and his best players. And you see what that temperament and that personality is. And I've pointed out these things with Ditka, who you played for, Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson. There's a competitive drive that you're not allowing the referee to take it away from you. You're not allowing anybody to be unprepared. And if they're not prepared, no matter what they get paid, no matter what cars are Shane and salary, you can't do it. You do it. You don't know your assignment. You're sit down. Don't care if you're Ryan Poles' number 1 pick. You better know your plays, because that's the expectation. It's greatness. That's what football on the NFL level, on the college level. I mean, I'm at Hofstra. I'm getting a test every week on my plays. There was like 380 plays. And you had to know it based on trips, whether you're the single, double, deuces, whatever the formation was, you had to know your assignment on each. And that's what this should be. To me, confusion, penalties, lackadaisical effort. And Chris, last point, and I think you'll agree with me here. When you're not a starter, right, and there's an injury to a player above, that's your time to shine.
Right.
That's your time to say, this job is never going to go away from me.
Right.
So when I hear people, they're playing with backups, they're playing, that's coaching right there. We're going to prepare you, and you have to be prepared. I've done everything I possibly can. Now there should be no confusion in assignment. All week long, you go over this stuff, and you simplify it so you could play fast and aggressive, just like you preach. What I saw against the Jets was a travesty. It's embarrassing. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing the excuses made, not enough talent. I'm like, there's enough talent out there. We've seen it week in and week out. And I know Justin Fields has covered over a lot of warts. So you got that answer. You know he's going to be your future. But how this team shapes out, obviously, it's going to be changing. It's going to be changing. But there's a lot of soap operas within the culture of what is going on. I mean, Josh McDaniels, who's the coach, Hackett, they're talking about firing these guys after 1 year, right? Hackett up in Denver, McDaniels won yesterday in overtime, but there was energy and verbiage that they're going to get fired after 1 year. Coaching is not an easy job. That's why I always tell fans, I go, it's the number 1 most important position over quarterback is to find the right coach. Because the culture is going to be the difference between winning and continuously winning and having a flash in the pan. You always have to have answers. You always have to do. And your offensive coordinator has been suspect at best. Suspect at best. And exactly, that's why he's right. That's what makes it the greatest game, because there's such a marriage there between quarterback and coach and defensive philosophies and coverages. But at the end of the day, it goes back to blocking and tackling. It really does. So you could put all the X's and O's up, block and know your assignment, and tackle. You'll win a lot of games in that order. So the Bears, to finish my thought there, have left me with more questions and one answer. That's the one answer you got. The one answer you got is Justin Fields. Now you have questions. Is David Montgomery coming back? Is, Cole Kmet, are you going to sign him? What are you going to do with Mooney now that Mooney's hurt? So there's a lot of questions that are going to go in to this offseason with a lot of money, with a high draft pick. I get it. But we'll see. That's what I cover it. But right now, Chris, I think people were totally misconstruing what I'm saying. One other thing I want to clear. I've never once said that Matt Nagy or Eberflus should come out here and bury his players. That's not the way you do it. You come out there and you hold your players accountable under the guise of yourself.
Right.
This isn't okay. You don't have to name names. What I saw out there is going to change. Is totally unacceptable. We cannot play and look as disgraceful as we did. People that have traveled far and wide to New York to see us play are disappointed, and I get it. And it can't happen on my job. That is what a head coach should be doing, not this, Chris. Well, get out Chris Zorich's notepad. Well, on third downs in the first quarter, we were about 73%. We had a big play down the right sideline. We covered kicks really well. We had that no, that's a politician's way. So for me, Chris, that says I'm nervous. Does this guy get the big picture? No one wants to hear the positives in a 31-10 blowout to the Jets, for God's sake. No one cares that Trevor Siemian had a good first quarter drive. Right? That's
but is it going to change in a year? I mean, are we going to hear the same stuff next year?
That's what I'm saying, Chris. I'm jumping to the understand. Hey guys, this is making me nervous that you are going to be that way, because glass half full guys, like he's saying, always lose. It's in football. Soccer, that shit might work. Okay, guys, we tied them up 0-0. We did a good job. It's a draw. In football, there is no glass half fill. There's only one full. It's full on winning. That's it. That's your ultimate goal. You played for Lou Holtz. Is he happy when a long snapper snaps the ball wrong? We'll get him next time there, Charlie. We'll get him next time. Come on, buddy. No, he's going crazy. This is your one job that you have to do. I know. Get it right. You think he's going to get it wrong? No. You got to be maniacal. The McCaskies are so afraid of this personality like mine that's going to go in there and say, take this shit off the wall and put something up there that defines the culture of me. And that's kick ass every down. If you don't, get out. You're the role of the GM. Find me guys that love the game.
Right.
That's number one. I don't care if he runs 4-1. If he doesn't love the game, his speed means zero. It's great for freaking Madden and stat boys. That's it. Football players. It's not hard. We all do it. I've been pretty good at picking out guys that the Bears should draft. Have I missed? Of course. You'll always miss. But again, I use you as an example. Chris Zorich, 6 foot, 200.
Hey, 6'1". Come on, man.
All right, but you said 6 foot. in private. I'll just share that.
What the fuck, man? Damn. Now
6'1",
now you beat me up.
200, and how much did you weigh coming out of Notre Dame?
I don't know. Well, go ahead. I mean, since I was only 6 foot,
I don't remember.
I think I was 240.
240.
So, right, 6 foot, 240, coming out of Notre Dame.
Playing All-American, playing defensive tackle in the NFL. So we pop on your tape.
I did not weigh 240, by the way.
Okay, so you weighed what, 285?
Okay, yes, but not 240. It was also wasn't 6 foot.
I gave you 6'1".
You're killing me.
6'1". So 6'1", 285, right? And you
6'1", 280, 275.
Okay, it's 275. Going once, Claudio. Going twice.
Thank you.
But you had the heart and the passion to play the game. I'm not blowing smoke up his butt. That's what I saw even as a young kid. That's what the Chicago Bears, Jack Sanborn, right? What was his 40 time? What was he was undrafted.
Right.
The whole league passed over him.
Right.
Every time I watch tape of him, he's popping on the tape because he understands his assignment and plays full speed and loves the game.
Amazing.
That's it. That's the secret. That's it. It's not hard, Ted Phillips. It's really not. And that's where Eberflus's glass half full crap has got to stop. No more coming off a loss. You, after a win, give me all the great positives you want. That's the goal. Right? Coming off of a loss and an embarrassment. Now you go to Green Bay, just hypothetical now. You're playing Green Bay at home. Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, let's say, but Love goes out there, throws 4 touchdowns. They beat you 38 to freaking 13. He comes to the thing. Well, listen, in the first half, we really had him on the ropes. I really like the way Trevor played. No one cares. Do you understand? That's the wrong approach with the coach. And that's where I'm throwing caution into the wind. So I've changed a lot of things at Hallis Hall. This network has too, by being loud and critical of it. I want this to help Coach Eberflus. Don't come listing positives. Confront the things that need to be changed. Every person, every coach I know that has done that, from Nick Saban, Bill Parcells, Jimmy Johnson, go down, Bill Belichick, all of them. Peyton, Sean Payton, he ain't listing all the positives in a loss.
Well, but maybe, here you go, maybe it's because this is a first-year head coach. He's never done this before.
Right, that's why I want to help him. I go, if you're going down this road, you are going to lose. Glass half full, loss.
Well, hopefully there are people in the organization that kind of explain that.
They don't have people.
Or not.
You're going to charge $5 for food. You and I both know I just sitting on the bus. Is football the most important thing, or is what they're eating and how they're traveling more important? That's the most important thing I pull away from the behind the scenes. I don't know that politics aren't first and foremost, then football, right down the line. The new stadium, the social media department, all this other stuff is more important than what's the bread and butter. You can't forget the bread and butter. Now, George and I agreed, talking to him, I'll say this, I believe that he's right. The Hallis, a trophy should be the Super Bowl trophy. Shouldn't be no Lombardi trophy. Freaking code.
You guys agree on one thing.
What's that? Yeah, we agreed on that. I totally agree. It should be the Hallis trophy, because without George Hallis, there is no NFL. So that should be the Super Bowl trophy. It shouldn't be the NFC. Lombardi should be the NFC.
Right.
They got that wrong. So I totally agree with them on that. But anyway, that's my mini Bears rant. There's really nothing to talk about football-wise. It's just, it is what it is right there. I'm sure when I pop the tape in, I'm going to see the same mistakes I saw against Atlanta the week before, who, by the way, isn't a good football team either, but you lost to them too. So there you go.
No, you didn't throw anything, so I'm happy about that. You didn't throw your microphone. You didn't throw anything behind you. You weren't throwing, you know.
Imagine if I went to that game with Claudio and Jackal. They were at that game.
Oh my God.
Claudio, I called him on the ride home after BHL, and I'm on the speaker with Jackal and him, and I'm like, so just tell me how it was. He's like, our defense looks pathetic. I go, exactly. You're a defensive coach, man. I would be you get the young bucks in there. That's when you coach the most. So listen, it could be Alan Williams, the defensive coordinator. He ain't the guy. Could be him. But that's on Eberflus to make sure. Listen, I know that's your boy.
Right.
Look what's his name did in Detroit. He fired his boy. Like, got to get him out. And they've been playing a hell of a lot better. You gotta do something different. To me, the center, obviously, Dieter Eisland would be right in there. Tevin Jenkins would be going over to left tackle. Braxton Jones, he'd be playing the right tackle because you're down Borum and Reef.
Who's 75?
Huh?
Who's number 75?
That's Larry Borum.
Did you? I text you.
Yeah, I did see.
I've
never seen anything like it.
I mean, he was just like, and a dude and his quarterback got sacked, and I mean, he went back there and looked at him.
And he didn't help him up.
And walked away. I was like, whoa.
Dude,
Now that was one play, but still, the idea that your guy made the sack and you didn't even have the balls to go over there and pick your quarterback up. Come on, man.
Now, the conspiracy is he didn't even know that was his guy. He's like, oh, that wasn't my guy. That was someone else's. Probably I never saw him.
But who?
I'm kidding. I don't know.
Okay. Like the closest person.
No, you're 100%.
Was a receiver, right? I mean, come on.
You're 100%. That was an embarrassment. And I think you're right. The fact there's an outside 9 to you. So what are you going down for? Unless there's a hot call and the linebackers blitzing C gap, you don't go down.
But even so, okay, let's say whatever it was, you're back there and your quarterback just got sacked. You don't help the dude up?
No, you're 100% right. That was
terrible
look.
Even if it wasn't his fault. I mean, he just sitting over and looked at him. He kind of walked away, and I was like, I had to rewind it. I was like, and then I texted you. I was like, what the hell?
I couldn't believe it either. It was like you read my mind. I go, and this guy doesn't even pick him up. And then Zorich texts me. The guy lets up a sack, doesn't even help the guy. I go, I was just saying the same thing. Like, what are you doing here?
But like you said, I mean, it's culture, and I mean, it has to change. And if it doesn't change, then we're back at square one.
Yeah, we're back at square one again. I mean, you said it. If you gotta be, if you can spend $90 million on Julius Peppers, right? Let me highlight that again. If you could spend $90 million, think about this, fans, on Julius Pepper. I'm just throwing Peppers. You could throw Khalil Mack's number, throw whatever number, but you can't spend that on the most important thing, the coach, and get the right guy in here. Someone who knows he's a head coach. Like, you open a dictionary book of coaches, right? And there's that coach, Jim Harbaugh. You go pay that guy and you get him in your building. I don't care if he makes Ted Phillips. His first move, Ted Phillips, retire. That's your first move. Ted's got to say, okay, because football's more important, not your fucking Bill of Rights for Arlington Heights. That'll come. Get the best coaches in here. That's what needs to happen. Now, Eberflus is still writing his story. I think everybody manipulates my words sometimes. Go over here and give him a shot. But it's to your point. If we're into September of next year and we're seeing these same political moves in preseason, it's done, bro. This half, the glass half full, that isn't winning cultures in the NFL.
Well, but it'll be interesting to compare like first years with, let's say, Bill Cowher and let's say like coaches that are established, right? Did they make these mistakes their first year, right?
Right.
And so that's the idea that you have. But again, this is what happens when you pay on the cheap and you get somebody that isn't head coach, right?
Right.
So these are, do you expect this individual like Nagy did his first year to go on and have great success, and then all of a sudden he becomes this mastermind?
That's the one thing. That's the one thing that gives me a little bit of hope, because I knew that Nagy was a shoe salesman, because I knew Fangio was the reason why he was the coach of the year, right? Because they went with the win-loss. Right now, I look at Eberflus, he's making these mistakes. I have to criticize him and help this situation because it's true. I know that I'm right about this. Again, this can't be the way. He's learning on the job. So this is a terrible first season. This is where you learn. How do you learn? You learn from your mistakes. But the thing is, I'm with you, Chris. If we continue to see this, don't all of a sudden once again come over to Phil and say, you were right, Phil. God, you were right. Well, no shit, Sherlock. What do you think? I'm not saying fire Eberflus. Let's make that clear. I'm saying you have to be concerned. I am very concerned with this coach right now. This was a huge test. Everybody was ready, Chris. Justin Fields. Now we're going to see Trevor Siemian. 1, 2, 3, going to throw. No, you put up 10 points. Justin Fields has been a magician. I don't just throw that out there. He's made your offense. He's covered all the warts of the offensive coordinator, the head coach, and the defense. Without him, you saw what you got.
Right, but wasn't it inevitable because of the way he was playing? Did you think that he was going to last like the whole season, being the highest yard gaining quarterback of the season or the world? Come on. Do you want your quarterback?
You were saying this 2 weeks ago. Someone finally gave you credit. I think it was Bratcher and Cool Kennedy. Cool Kennedy was saying it.
Look, it's not common.
Zorich called it. I think you called it the week before, right? On Keeping It 100. You were like, Phil, how long could this keep up? Then he's hurt. He's laying on the ground in Atlanta in the fourth quarter. Let's run another QB draw with him. Oh, my God.
Motto. All right.
Motto. But know what, Chris? College football.
Oh, my
great.
Lord. Was that just an amazing weekend? Friday and Saturday. It was unbelievable.
I almost agree with your rankings this week.
Almost. That's
my number one team.
High, right?
My number one team has a guy that's maniacal on his sideline. I'm just letting you know.
That's your number one. Wow. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
They did what nobody believed, but
Yes, that's very true.
Let's talk about these teams, Chris.
Let's
kick it off.
It's a fun. Yeah, maybe Sheree, maybe we could work in a way where we can maybe make up for the hour and a half that he spent on his rant. So I'm gonna need your help here, Sharice. So I'm gonna limit it because people have to go to bed and
We got to go quick through these teams.
right, exactly.
You want to go number 16?
How about that? Let's just start there.
Number 16, UCLA.
Now this is just gonna show you kind of how tight like this our Super 16 is, but literally what the top 10, top 25 looks like, because this is a 9-3 team that had an opportunity to do really well against USC. They didn't, obviously, but the idea is that they were close. Now, their quarterback, DTR, which we both talked about, I mean, he has over 3,000 yards for the season. That's awesome. But to be 9-3, be number 16, it's going to be kind of tough. Right? They're going to go to a great bowl, but with those 3 losses, man, it just I felt bad for him. I really did.
Kid is a great football
player. He had a
player.
chance to really beat SC.
They had him on the ropes, Chris. Back and forth it was going. Again, that's the story of football, man. That's what makes it so great. But you're right. The 3 losses kill you. And that's where you go from there. They did win, though, this weekend. They beat, right? Didn't they beat, who was their rival? Cal?
Oh, yeah. Well, but again, I mean, okay.
That's
so
their rival, right?
They beat Cal. I mean, all right. Great. Okay. But, but again. I mean,
Cal had them on the ropes for a minute.
But they fumbled when they lost to Arizona, right? Because
that was the killer.
Right. I mean, you have a chance to beat Utah when folks couldn't beat them. And then you lost to Oregon. Okay, they were a great machine, but then you fumble up and you lose to Arizona. And then that's really what killed you. And then you go into your rival at SC,
That's it.
All right.
Let's go to number 15.
With number 15.
Number 15, Clemson.
Oh, boy.
Now, this is so interesting. So,
oh, boy.
Clemson drops 7.
7.
After losing to who?
South Carolina.
Our boy who just reemerged as the last couple of games, man.
He had Mr. Miyagi at quarterback. Spencer Rattler.
Seriously.
Rattler.
I mean, where did he come from, man?
All of a sudden, he became the guy that we thought he should be.
Right. Like, I totally forgot he was in South Carolina. Totally forgot. And then all of a sudden it was like, bam, bam. It's like, whoa, oh, yeah, I forgot he was there. Oh, by the way, he just destroyed Tennessee.
Holy
and
Nike.
Oh, boy, you have a chance to play your rival, which everybody knows you're going to lose to.
Haven't lost in their home stadium in how many games? Was it like 45?
40 home games.
40 straight at home.
And I think the next one is like 24 or something like that. That's where it's at. 40. I mean, come on, man. And then you're playing a what? What was South Carolina walking into that? I think they weren't they 8-7-5 or something like that?
What's that? Oh, playing there?
Oh, their record.
No, I think they have a pretty good 8-3. Yeah.
So they were 7-4 going into it. My bad.
So now they're 8-4.
Yes.
So, yeah, unbelievable turnaround. I mean, that's the story, Rattler.
Oh my gosh. Well, and then here's the thing, though. So you're going to have. This is how powerful your ACC is, right? So number 15, they're actually going to be playing for the ACC championship. So what?
Yep.
What? Okay. All right. That's a powerhouse there.
You want to go to
the
number?
team they're going to play is not even in the damn top 16. They're going to play UNC.
UNC.
Right. Who lost to who the hell they lose to?
Oh my God, they lost to North Carolina State, right?
Yes, they did. Unranked.
Unranked.
Yes, they did.
North Carolina State.
but before that, Georgia Tech. But that's whole. They're not even in there. So let's jump to 14.
Number 14, Florida State.
Now these guys are kind of on the rise a little bit, and actually, you're not going to believe this. They're 9-3.
9-3.
Right? So, which is amazing, man. You think about when they beat LSU. I mean, they were just, king of the hill.
Right.
Now, I mean, after that, and then when you look at who they lost to, it was in the midseason. We actually talked about this last week. You weren't here because of your tummy, but you look at they lost to Wake Forest, who was ranked. They lost to NC State, who was ranked, and Clemson. Like, those are only 3 losses in the middle of the year.
Yeah, Florida State on the right. That was one of the most exciting games.
Balling on Friday.
Florida State. What a ball game. The kid Davis from Florida State showing his skill, throwing the ball down the field, big plays. Oh, my God. That was like college football. I mean, I know a lot of World Cup people are out there. I go, it's not even close. When you watch these college football games, I'm like, oh, my God. Florida State was just must-see TV.
Well, and here's the interesting thing. So he's ranked 14th, right? So Jordan Travis. So he has a quarterback ranking of 6. And this is so interesting because, I'm all about the stats. But when you look at it, there has to be that kind of it factor, or that unknown factor that's going to allow you, because, I mean, our number 2 team, their quarterback ranking is 16. So what's the difference between number 2 at 16 and, number 14 at 6? I mean, it's obviously a team, and we're talking about one person, but again, at the end of the day, it's kind of interesting.
It is interesting.
Speaking about interesting, let's go to 13.
Number 13, Oregon.
Phil, you see how fast
I cut you off. I apologize.
No, it was good. It was good.
No.
See, this is how Cherie and I did it, right? So we boom, boom, boom. We did it. We didn't have time to take a drink. We didn't have time to sit there and ponder. We just rolled through it. So maybe you can
Christian pondering Florida State. Now we're
at last week's show to kind of learn how to,
Let's go. I thought I was your master here.
You are my master.
Teach Bo Nix.
But sometimes when a master got a little tummy ache, the sheet master got to come in and take over.
Bo Nix.
Yes, our guy.
Oregon.
He's going to finish the season with 3,400 freaking yards. 34. When he was leaving Auburn, I know he was not thinking he's going to end his season with 3,400 freaking yards.
Did you think they would lose to Oregon State? The Beavers.
That's my problem. That is my problem. What the hell are you doing losing to
the rival
Oregon State? What the hell, man?
Oregon State has been sneaky good this year, winning these games. I'm surprised you have them under Florida State. I would have put Florida State over Oregon. How many spaces did they drop?
6, actually. So
6 spots. Okay.
It, yes. But here's the thing, though. They could have been in the Pac-12 championship. They could have been in that sucker. And this is after losing to Washington. They could have still been in it. But they said, no, I want to shit the bed again. Come on, man. This is Oregon State, man. This is your rival, man. You need to, man.
The Beavers came.
See, Phil, that's the reason I couldn't coach, because I'd be knocking kids out. I'd be knocking kids straight up out. I'm like, dude, this is a rival week. You better get your ass in the weight room. Well, coach, I got to wet. Boom. I'd be going to HR. Zorch's HR again. I'm like, God damn it, again? Really? One more time, Mr. Zorch. One more time. Come on, man. Come on.
Hey, got to play big against your rival.
They could not be losing to bullshit teams.
Hey, what's Oregon State's record, Cherie? Check that one out. We'll go to number 12.
Number 12, Washington.
So, again, here's another team that's going to kind of sneak up on you. They're 10-2.
10-2.
Yes, can you believe that?
No.
But when you look at their team, well, here's the thing, though. Their quarterback, freaking out of this world, man.
He's throwing the ball.
The number one.
Oregon State, 9-3, Chris. See?
Okay. Well, but let's take a look who they play. Well, let's take a look who they lost.
This guy had Baylor in there for weeks.
Oh. Oh. Okay. See, but again, this is what happens when you start off playing Boise State. Okay, you lose to SC back to back, and then you lose to Utah. So, I mean, you're going to get killed right there. And then you barely beat Stanford by 1 point. And, of course, they lost to Washington, yeah. And then they beat Oregon.
Who?
So, like, literally,
you're talking about Oregon State?
I am talking about the Beavers, yes, because you brought them up. I'm sorry. We can jump on Washington if you want.
Now I want to look at Washington.
Okay, let's look at Washington. But here's the thing. Their quarterback, Michael Penix, has the most yards in D1 at 4,300 yards.
Dang.
With 7 interceptions. That's not bad.
Guy's under the radar, too. Not a lot of people talking about what he's doing up in Washington. And that comes with the lack of faith in the Pac-12's defenses, which I think are
they're horrible.
You don't think there's – I think they're better. I think they're better than horrible.
I thought they were horrible. Well, here's the thing. Here's the exciting thing, though.
That's right, Mike. He transferred from Indiana.
Oh, he did? I didn't know that.
Yes, he transferred from Indiana.
Okay. Booyah. And hopefully he'll stay. And maybe, after 4,300 freaking yards, and maybe he might have a chance at the Heisman next year.
Oh, he's going to stay. I would be shocked if he declares. I don't even know what.
Are you kidding me? Some of these guys are rolling, man. They're jumping in the transfer portal, which is a whole different conversation.
We saw the kid from Michigan transfer portal tonight.
Oh, who's that? I didn't see that.
What's his name?
He
was the starter last year.
The quarterback?
Yeah, the quarterback. McNamara. Thank you, Cherie.
Okay, who's that?
That was their quarterback last year.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school.
Okay, are we on Michigan now? We are 11?
I'm just saying, you said transfer portal. It was relevant. Somebody jumped in it tonight. McNamara announced it. Do you announce it during your playoff run? That's kind of weird to me.
Well,
what's the rule there, Chris? Now that he announces, is he off the team?
Well, that would be up to the coach and the athletic director.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in the AD several years ago, we had that situation. So that's when the transfer portal just started.
Mm-hmm.
And a kid jumped in. And again, when I say jump in, I mean, he didn't go to his coach. All you have to do is go talk to the director of compliance and say that, hey, I would like to officially put my name into the transfer portal. So your coach doesn't know. I mean, no one really knows until it's announced, unless you talk to them. So, but oftentimes, and this is the flip side of it, a coach may come up to you if you're not playing and say, hey, what you thinking? Again, you think you're gonna have an opportunity to stick, blah blah blah. You might want to jump in the portal, which is how you think about it. How did Lincoln Riley? How did Michigan State coach? How did these guys get these influx of players in there? Well, they had conversations with the current guys saying, hey, you might want to think elsewhere. Anyway, make a long story short. So my policy was, if a kid jumps in, then outside of getting treatment if the kid's injured or whatever, that person's off the team, right? Because that person felt that he didn't want to be part of it, or she didn't want to be part of it. But I'm sure there's ADs. I'm sure there are people out there that are being more lenient. But if you're gonna make that decision and disrupt our team, then you need to come back. Here's the crazy thing: is everything should just jump in the portal. You're gonna get the phone call. Guess what? You didn't get a phone call. So he came back and said, hey, after like a month, hey, I didn't get anything. Can I come back on the team? What? I mean, you got to keep on stepping, man.
Kept on stepping.
I mean, those are the decisions you have to make. Being a head coach or an athletic director, you got to be able to set a policy, set a standard.
Now, would you lean on your coach, or is that an athletic director decision? That scenario. The kid doesn't get a call from Oklahoma or wherever he thought he was going. Now he wants to come back to Zorich University. Are you the AD deciding, or is the head coach deciding?
Well, we've set the policy, so it's a policy of the athletic department. So it's all sports. I mean, and you got to think about it. If you're trying, as a coach, you're trying to put together a team for next season, and all of a sudden you hear, kid didn't tell you, all of a sudden he or she says, "Hey, you read
Goes
about
over the wire like
right.
below."
And you're like, whoa, what the hell? You go down and think, hey, Janie, what the hell happened here? She's like, well, I just thought I wanted to do something else different.
It's a good question. What's the rule for the transfer portal? Is there a certain amount of time a college athlete has to stay before entering the portal?
Well, you aren't allowed to go during the season unless your season's over. So all these folks you're seeing a lot of folks that have said, okay, I probably won't play in the bowl game. So therefore, that's why you saw all this action in the transfer portal right now, because everybody's season ended at the 12 games that they played. Now, if you get a bonus to go on to the playoffs, you get a bonus to go on to to play in a bowl game. That's something different. And again, if I was the coach, so let's say you're Harbaugh, right? McNamara, again, is no longer on the team. I mean, you put your name in the portal. Again, I'm going to make sure you're getting study hall and everything else until the semester's over. But if you don't want to be part of my team, I'm not going to sit there and waste time on it.
That's crazy that he put it in. You got the Big Ten championship, you got playoffs, and you're putting your name in the portal. God forbid anything happened to the starter, you would be next, no? Unless he's lower down on the totem. I don't know.
Well, but even still, I mean, having a chance
it's a distraction.
To get a degree, but having a chance to get a degree from Michigan, and let's see where he's going to end up. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to graduate, right? Because although we all love this great sport, or any sport, it ends someday.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you're going to sit there and say, well, hey, you know what? For me, my career ended when I chose to jump in the portal when I was at Michigan.
There you go. Some little portal talk.
Hey.
Portal talk. Those were deep thoughts with Chris Zorich on the portal. You taught me some things about the portal tonight.
Hey.
Let's
try to teach the master, but it's hard.
Let's go to number 11, Miyagi.
Number 11, Kansas State.
So again, this is kind of interesting team. Phil, I mean, they had two quarterbacks starting the whole season, but more importantly, this would be kind of interesting. I mean, a 9-3 team ranked 11 is playing for the Big 12 championship. Again, what does that tell you, right? I mean, now, I hope that they have a chance, because I still think, and I think one of the only person left in the country that believes that TCU isn't as good as they look, which, I'm not going to get yelled at for that, but that's just my opinion. We're going to see. I thought Iowa State was going to show something, but they got demolished by TCU. But we can talk about that later. But again, when you look at Kansas State, hey, they only lost to a ranked TCU team in Texas, right? But they also lost to Tulane. So that's the problem.
That's the blemish, the Tulane. Because remember that Kansas State Texas game was coming down to the wire, if I remember.
Exactly. And
they're playing them tough.
They would have had a chance, right? So the idea is that now they're going to play TCU again, and what's going to happen? I'm sure TCU is going to roll on them. So we're going to see TCU in the Final Four, which is really disheartening. But we can move to 10 if you'd like.
Let's go.
Number 10, LSU.
Okay, since I love the SEC, let's talk some more shit. How does a 9-3 LSU team that almost had a chance to be in the Final Four, how are they ranked 10th and going to play Georgia in the SEC championship game after they shit the bed against Texas A&M? How does that happen?
It's bugged out how this season in the SEC
Oh my God!
has
See,
fallen, man.
Alabama they shit the bed and everything just gets jacked up. See, normally it's not
Alabama.
like this, man. We just need Alabama in there, let them have the little dynasty forever. Then you won't have stupid shit like this.
Well, Tennessee also had a shot. They blew it.
I know, but
Got
you figure-
smoked.
Well, right, but here you have a chance to really kind of do something against a 4-7.
Oh my God, it was embarrassing.
It was absolutely. And
I know deep in your heart you were laughing.
Oh no, I was laughing out loud. It wasn't so much deep in my heart. I was laughing out loud.
Watching Chip Kelly go down to your guy over there at Texas A&M. Did you see him? How about them Aggies? He came into the locker room.
I mean,
Wow.
it was.
He has 2 upset wins this year. This dude.
Well, exactly, which is crazy.
He beat Alabama and LSU. So basically, his season was horrendous.
He beat Alabama last year.
Oh, it was last year?
Right. But that's okay. I mean,
oh yeah, that's right. It was close.
He needs to hang his hat on that, right? Because
who was he beat another team this year? Texas A&M.
Arkansas?
Maybe it was when they were.
Oh no, it was UMass. My bad. It was UMass.
UMass.
20-3. That's what it was.
UMass.
Then they beat the shit out of a highly ranked LSU team, which, again, man, I had them up there, man, and they had a chance to get in there.
The Aggies, they beat Miami. There you go. They beat Miami. LSU, the Tigers, went from sniffing, possibly getting in the playoffs, Chris.
Like, literally. They had a chance.
They totally had a chance.
So now they're in the basement of the. Well, I don't say basement, but they have absolutely no chance now.
They beat Alabama. Excuse me.
Last year. That's okay.
I'm saying if LSU,
yes,
they're going to play Georgia. They beat Georgia.
Yes.
Does that propel them to a spot? No.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And
I
at
wanted
the end
that.
of the day, well, but here's the thing. It's going to be interesting. Let's talk about that when we get up there. So let's hurry up and try to get up there.
Let's go Penn State.
Number 9, Penn State.
All right, Phil, here's the thing. When I tell you the quarterback ranking of our guy, Shane Clifford, that we just did not acknowledge as being a quarterback, right? He just did not look like a quarterback, but he balled. You wouldn't believe how many yards he had for the season. So first, how many yards do you think he had for the season?
I don't know, so I'm definitely going to guess 3,800.
Wow. Okay, so no. So no. So he had 2,500.
25.
I
Wow.
thought was amazing. But 3,800. Wow. Have you watched any college football this year? No. Well, okay. Well, anyway, so let's just move on.
He did get benched. He
just jacked my whole conversation up. I was just going to say how amazing he was with a quarterback ranking of 34, and we didn't think he was going to be that great with 2,500 yards, which I thought was amazing. But apparently, you think 3,800 yards is deserving for Penn State quarterback. But.
Well, I really liked the kid. I really thought he was going, and then he got benched.
Yes.
With a young kid. And then the Clifford story was kind of more toned down. I didn't understand why he got benched, to be honest. And then obviously he came back. So I guess that's the story, that he came back and now they've won. But Penn State, to me, I think that was the big mistake of the coach, benching this kid.
Oh, right. And they only have 2 losses, right? And the losses were who? Michigan and Ohio State. Right? And so you're going to have and 10-2 is a great record, man.
Heck yeah, it is.
They're going to jump to a great bowl. They're not even representing the Big Ten in a championship, which I can't, man. man.
I think they should get rid of. They got to get
chance.
rid of the East and West or whatever the heck they're doing.
Illinois had a chance, and Illinois, I think. I think Illinois was like, I think they're like 5-4 in conference or something like that. Come on, it's like something terrible. They had a chance. It was like Oprah. She was passing out opportunities to be in the.
You get a chance.
Right.
You get a chance.
You play.
Now it's Purdue.
Right. Purdue.
Purdue isn't even in the Zorich hemisphere. Who?
Well, Illinois had a chance. I'm trying to find who Illinois.
Illinois. I can get it for you. Illinois
Probably
football.
I'm just trying to see. I mean,
remember they almost beat Michigan.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. They
lost to Purdue.
Right.
And then they spanked Northwestern 41-3.
But in conference, so they just beat Northwestern, right? But in conference, they were 4-4.
Right. They lost to Michigan State.
Well, they lost everybody. But in conference, they were 4-4, right? Had Purdue lost, and obviously Illinois won, they would have been representing the East in the Big Ten Championship. A team that's 5-4. Man, come on, man. Anyway,
they gotta fix that.
I'm sorry, I'm on my rant.
Let's go to number 8.
Number 8, Tennessee.
Did you just say 10?
Take me to another. I was gonna sing. Take me to another place.
10. Okay, all right. Okay,
I cut myself up.
So here's the amazing thing. So our guy Hendon Hooker, right, tore his ACL, right? Before that, put up 3,100 yards, has a quarterback ranking of 2. I'm sorry, he's number 2 at 89.5.
Wow.
Now the number 1 guy is at Kansas. He's at like 80. I think he's at like 90.1 or something like that. But he only had 2 interceptions. That's crazy. I mean, he had a phenomenal year.
Sad that he got hurt.
After beating Vanderbilt, they moved up. But, I mean, is he going to be in the Heisman talk, do you think?
I think he's got to be in the talk. But I think it's a clear cut who should win the Heisman that we talked about a few weeks ago.
I can't wait till we get up there. Okay.
It sucks that Hendon Hooker got hurt.
Yes.
What Tennessee now? 9-3. What's the
10-2?
10-2.
Yes, it's amazing.
Another 10-2.
I mean, these bowl games next week, man, are gonna be just freaking unbelievable games, man. There's gonna be so many 10-2 teams playing against each other. It's gonna be awesome.
Let's go to number 7.
Number 7, Utah.
The Utes.
The two Utes.
And interestingly enough, we actually talked about Cameron Rising kind of throughout the whole year because we love his four-star mustache. But amazingly, he has a quarterback ranking that ranked 10th at 83.2. So he actually turned around the year he had. However, they're 9-3, and guess what? Because Oregon shit the bed, they're going to be playing for the Pac-12 championship.
This is huge.
This is huge.
That's a huge game.
Here's the thing. It's a huge game because why? Because
of number USC in the playoffs.
The only loss this year is against who?
Utah.
The Utes.
The Utes. Now they get a rematch. Redemption, Bob Marley?
Hey.
Or is it you get another loss and then you're knocked out of the playoffs?
That's where you start to get kind of crazy.
That's why what you're talking about with the Big Ten, they're not doing it right, because Michigan should probably be playing Penn State or a repeat of Ohio State going to Michigan. or something like that. Like play the top teams. But again,
obviously, no one would want to see Ohio State, Michigan again.
it probably would
I'm
be
sure
good. Penn State, Michigan.
Yes. But I mean, we can give props to Utah. I mean, you look at what they had. So Utah was SC's only loss.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the disheartening part because they lose to Florida at the beginning of the year and then they lose against Oregon. So and UCLA. So you look at had they kind of them like we actually liked them for a long time.
Right.
And I mean,
nobody's liked him more than Ben Ricketts. I'll tell you that. He's here every week.
That's awesome. Love you, Ben.
There he is.
There you
go. My boy, Ben.
And so the idea that they have a chance at redemption, and as we know, it's hard to beat a team twice in one season unless you're the Bears. Oh! So
yes.
The idea that the Utes, right, have a chance to win.
Listen, there's a chance. They're very well coached, but to
absolutely.
your point, no one's playing like USC right now. No one's playing like that quarterback at USC right now.
I don't even know who you're talking about. Okay, so let's talk about one of my favorite teams, number 6.
Number 6, Alabama.
My boy Bryce Young, our boy Bryce Young, who we
Yes.
love dearly, Mr. Comco Collective, had over 3,000 yards for the season. Great for him. He'll probably leave. He did not have a amazing year for the Heisman, right? But we still like him. He won it last year. Do not think he has a chance
You think
this year.
he's going to leave? I think he might stay one more year.
Okay.
I think he should.
Is he's a junior?
No, I think he'll be a junior, right? Next year?
So that means he's a sophomore now? I thought he was a junior.
Thought so.
I will tell you in a second.
Let's get to some stats here.
He is a junior now. You are correct.
He is a junior.
Wow. Okay. So okay. So does he stay? That's a question we can talk about.
I would advise him to stay.
So then he could win. He could win his sophomore year and his senior year. That's awesome. That'd be crazy.
That would be great.
That would be.
And then you get a redo for Alabama. I think that would help their program having him back next year.
But the good thing is they beat They beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl.
Spanked
29-27. With an interim coach. They actually used to play at Auburn. So how cool was that? That was kind of a great opportunity for him. But guess what? They're 10-2.
Cadillac.
Now they have an outside chance.
10-2.
A lot of stuff got to happen though.
A lot of stuff has to happen for them to get.
A lot of stuff got to happen. LSU has to dominate Georgia in the SEC championship, which would mean that maybe Georgia gets bounced out of the top 4, which won't happen because they're number 1 on a consistent basis, at least in my poll.
Yes.
Hint. But you know what? Let's talk about that when we get up to the Final 4.
All right,
let's talk about number 5.
Number 5, Ohio State.
What? Was that a misprint?
Hey.
Jeepers creepers.
Yeah. Was that a misprint?
What happened was.
Apparently, what happened was. Oh my God.
Wow.
So did the wheels just come off of this shit or what?
No, I felt
Sure,
like
you want to jump in here because I know you got some Michigan stuff to talk about. How crazy was that game?
Oh my gosh. It was beautiful.
You know, I can't see you, Phil, as much as
I'm getting it.
Thank you.
I was trying to get to that.
I
It was a beautiful game from my point of view. So,
oh my God,
this is joy to see them finally fall in your rankings. You've given us our proper credit. Finally, end of the season.
I couldn't believe it. I talked to my boy Rick. Rick was just ecstatic.
I was so happy for Rick.
As everyone was fired up about this. But the thing is that how did, and you just knew because they did the same thing the Bears did. They wouldn't comment. Oh, no, our guy's good. Running back, come on, man. He wasn't going to play. I mean, he played like 2 downs.
He went in one play.
How in the hell? I mean, you got to think about Ohio State. I mean, their quarterback is the damn front runner for the Heisman at this point. J.J. McCarthy has not that good of a showing previously.
He showed out.
Oh my God, that whole team.
Well, I think the head coach said, you know what? We have to do something different. And they devised the game plan to not only throw the football, but to build up the quarterback to throw the ball down the field, and played great defense. They also pass protected very well. And it wasn't like they didn't run the ball. That's what I love about this coach. He challenges people to be their best.
I think, did he have 216 or something like that? Running back?
Oh, yeah. He had the closeout 80-yard run, too, right? Just closed out the stadium. People walking out the stadium. He's running. He's just running at the 20, waving to Dick Johnson, running up going to this car to get out of traffic.
It is just, wow. I was speechless. I was just absolutely speechless.
I loved it.
It's just the way they dominated them.
It was so beautiful.
Hail to the victors, man.
Who's got it better than us?
Nobody, right? Zorich?
I was amazed. So, which is the reason why they are 5. Now,
yes.
Here's the thing. Are they just going to go to, like, the Peach Bowl? I mean, like, what bowl they get? Like,
that's
no, but here's the thing, though. This is the scary part. Well, let's run through. Let's keep the 3 of us on, but let's run through 4, 3, 2, 1, because we're just going to talk about all these things.
Here we go.
Number 4, USC. Number 3, TCU. Number 2, Michigan. Number 1, Georgia.
Hey, there you go. Yep, I like it.
There it is.
I thought you were going to play Michigan twice. Actually, so.
I wanted to, trust me. I was going to try to put Georgia 2, but I can't do that on the fly.
Well, okay, so, everybody had a chance. Obviously the most important game was Michigan-Ohio State. We had a chance to see TCU play Iowa State. They were supposed to beat them. That's great. We thought, in our thought of thoughts, that Notre Dame had a chance against SC. I think, as much as I love me some Stetson Bennett, I think Caleb Williams may have won the Heisman during that game. And I love me some Stetson Bennett.
Williams, just hand him the Heisman. Things that he does on the football field.
It was that game. There were times that he should have been dominated, and there's a play that they were able to play back. I think he ran like 83 yards total. Yeah. After he really folks so much. It's just like, come on, guys. Who did you think y'all like? What was the game plan? Who did y'all think y'all were playing?
There's a throw in there when he's running and he jumps, squares his shoulder, and throws a ball.
Is that crazy?
Dime. I go, oh my God.
Right. How did
Then he throws another dime down the right. I mean, these are NFL throws that he's throwing like he's a fourth-year quarterback. I'm like, oh my God. He's only a sophomore, so he can't even come out this year.
No, he's not a sophomore.
Yes.
Oh, are you serious?
He can't even come out.
However, here's my only, and it's not a knock on him. And I'm sure if I was 20,
you didn't like the fingernails?
I thought that was cool, actually. I'm all about that. So the fingernails, well, let's explain to folks what the fingernails were who may not know what the fingernails were about.
Well, he apparently does it, Shane said, every game to every opponent, but on his fingernails, he was painted FUCK and D on the other hand. And he does it every game and gets himself fired up that way, I guess.
So yes, you're correct. He is a sophomore, so Lord have mercy.
So he's got another year at USC.
But did y'all see him coming into the stadium looking like Prince?
I didn't see it.
He had like a cream, double-breasted suit, which I'm sure I didn't see, but I'm sure the pant leg.
He had Acevedo's pirate shirt. The fluffy
he didn't have a shirt on.
Oh, he didn't?
He just had his gold. He had a gold chain hanging with his headphones on, with his double-breasted cream. He looked just like Prince, man. I was like, look at this. And of course, there's some afterward, but if I had some beforehand, I'd have thought we would kick their ass. But
get on top.
That was just not the case. But I say all that to say that he is just a phenomenal quarterback. But I want to get back to that Ohio State, Michigan ass whooping.
Let's talk more about that.
Which I think we should, because we have to I mean, they're probably going to have maybe 3 possible first-round picks on that team.
On Michigan or Ohio State?
Yeah, I know Ohio State, bro.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how does, that, there was no part of, now at first, the first maybe, I think it was the first quarter maybe, I thought that, okay.
When they went right down the field. My father called me. He's like, it's going to be a long day. I go, no, they're going to make adjustments.
And then even dude was out. Even the running back at that point was out. But talking about making adjustments, halftime, what happened?
Destroyed him. It was the longest halftime ever, for God's sake. I'm like, how long is this halftime?
He had the time to do it.
But I love. You know what's my favorite thing?
It didn't work, so they just came back in. So sorry. Go ahead.
My favorite thing was Jim just completely out coaching Ryan Day, and Ryan Day just screaming and yelling on his side. It was just great for me. Like, I love that. And
then did you see? And this is me. I'm kind of harping on all the intangibles here. How about when the dude, I think the number was 88, when they're on the sideline, the dude headbutted the Michigan guy.
Oh my God. That was a huge
I mean, dude,
you could see how undisciplined they were. That was a huge penalty in the game.
Exactly. Now, I am a strong proponent against the whole targeting thing and kicking kids out.
Right. Me too.
I hate that. But for some shit like that, that's that blatant, his ass is gone. If I was Ohio State's coach, his ass to be off the team until further notice.
Yeah,
because that's uncalled for, and that's undisciplined. I mean, you aren't a league. You think you're a badass? You aren't a league. You be a badass within the lines, bro.
Exactly.
Anybody can be a badass outside the lines.
Totally agree.
Especially with a helmet on.
I always say to him, you represent me. That ain't me right there.
Right.
You want to do that? Do it in between the lines. Goodbye. Sit your ass on the bench. You don't need those guys. I got 6 other guys that run 4.5.
And I got a guy that would chew off his left arm to play in your spot. So
exactly.
The fact that you're going to be undisciplined, and I guarantee you that's not dude's first time.
It's probably not.
I'm just saying. in
They got
practice,
some
probably
animals
not-
too at Ohio State. Those
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's
35,
probably
44.
dudes probably not his first time getting in the scrap, right?
Right.
So if you have a history of that shit, come on, man.
I know he ended up putting him back in the game. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
See?
There you go, HL. Exactly. It just shows the different minute. Here's Jim after the game. I don't know if you saw it. They're trying to get him the interview. He's like,
Yes, was that
nope.
so-
Here's.
Right.
He goes and
He
gets
grabbed
him.
and brought him over. Come on, man.
Always does that.
Come on, man.
I just love
See,
Jim.
now here's a dude. Come on, man. Now here's a dude. Been on
Could
every
have been
level,
like
been to
put
Super
a
Bowl.
rose in his mouth. He could have been
Exactly.
like taunting everybody.
Come on. I mean, this is the first time they beat Michigan back to back in how many years? And oh, by the way, he did it. Come on,
He did it, and you hadn't won at Ohio State
on.
since 2000.
dude.
That's
22 years.
22.
22 years.
Jeez.
He could have been. Dude, he could have been.
And they put a whooping on him. It was like Rocky knocking Drago out.
Seriously?
It was like
it could have
nobody
been a
believed. I know. I texted Zorich. I go,
And you could
you
have
better
said
crown
you
my ass
deserve it.
because I
You
believed.
deserve it.
I believed. I knew they were going to win. I know a great coach. That dude is just an animal. He's an animal. And we'll see. You always get this young quarterback needs a lot of praise. He made the big plays in the critical moments, JJ did. And players stepped up. It was impressive to see that this coach changed the dynamic. Ohio State was expecting them now without their big. They're going to stick to what they do. They're going to try to, and nope, we're going to throw over the top. We're going to get you one-on-one. You want to play, keep playing man. We're going to take it.
I'm so sorry. They were talking to him, and he just looked. He was looking like he was still in the days. He was like, I was brought in to stop this. Holy shit! Oh my god!
It was a great showcase for
It was just absolutely amazing. So
then Georgia plays Georgia Tech. This is where I think you moved Michigan to number 1. You played your rival. No one believed in you. The whole story. You're undefeated. That's why they leapfrogged Georgia in my perspective, because Georgia played who? Who? Georgia Tech?
Unranked team.
Georgia Tech lost to SMU. They didn't even play them.
I respect that.
Did Baylor beat Georgia Tech? That's all.
Wow. See, I'm just trying to stall for time as I look at the record
Georgia Tech.
of
Georgia Tech.
our awesome.
The rambling record, Georgia. Who do you want? I could do it for you.
I was just happened to be looking at the schedule of
Georgia or Michigan.
and see that they
Jesus.
almost lost to Illinois.
Okay, but
Okay, right. So,
Georgia almost lost to Kentucky.
by how many?
10 points.
Okay, so Illinois.
Kent State. Remember
Okay,
Kent?
so
Remember
right,
Kent?
so
All right, you got them.
that's
That's your measuring stick.
That's the reason why they weren't one for me.
Okay.
Do they deserve to be two? Absolutely. Do they deserve all the? Absolutely. But
Hey, I respect your reasoning. I get it. All jokes aside, they've been on your top all season.
And when they faltered, they got pushed down. You know that.
Right there. I get where you're going. They spanked Georgia Tech.
And we can see tomorrow how the college football playoff committee thinks about that.
And Georgia beat them last year.
Who?
Michigan.
Oh, they did. What was the score for him?
I don't remember the score.
Okay.
But
I don't
they
think you
did.
want to bring that up. I don't know if you want to bring it up. I was
Just
trying not to bring
saying,
it up.
The
I was trying
crown stays on top in your
Sheree,
your
would you
poll.
happen to know what the score was?
I don't want to talk about it. We
Okay.
did about this season.
My bad. I thought I wasn't going to go there. See, you know,
I'm okay with number 2. I get it. Georgia's the champions. I'm okay with the number 2 spot.
I was willing to not even bring it up because
that should be a part of it. They are the defending national champs. They've not lost. They only could play who's in front of them, and they've dominated. So I've thought Michigan has been tremendous all season. I get the Illinois thing, and there's where you're at with them. So I think your poll is very fair. I like how you lined it up, but you hate TCU. So
I do.
So talk about that. I think that.
Well, I think TCU is in a conference. They don't play defense, and I think the quarterback is great, but I think you imagine if Caleb Williams or Bryce Young was in the Big 12, right? It'd be insane because they don't play defense. So I put them, and people are going to hate me for this, but I put them in the same class as I did with Cincinnati last year. And you know how much I hated Cincinnati last year.
Right.
And it showed, right? I mean, it showed when, people were feeling sorry for them, right? I mean, people were like, people couldn't even watch it last year because they were just they cremated.
Right.
But I think it's going to be interesting because everybody's going to hoop and holler about how excited TCU is going to be there to get there in the Final Four, and they have to beat.
Well, they have to beat Kansas State,
right? Which they beat previously. Now, if they lose, then it's all kind of malarkey is going to happen, right?
Well, then who do you put? Let's just say they lose. USC beats Utah. So now you got Georgia and Michigan obviously beats Purdue. Now you got Georgia, Michigan, USC moves up to 3.
Right.
Ohio State or Alabama. Who do you put in?
There you go, right?
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
So that's where you personally are probably rooting for Kansas State.
I am absolutely rooting for Kansas State because but again, it's hard to beat 2 teams in a year, blah, blah, blah. But I just don't think they belong when you got teams like Ohio State and Alabama kind of waiting in the wings, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And
nobody wants. I think. Who would you choose, Bama or Ohio State?
Well, I would choose Bama because Ohio State's loss, I think, is much deeper than what we can look at. I mean, you had Michigan didn't even have their star player. It was at home. They had the whole revenge factor all year. They talked about the score of the last year's game. Like, I am dead set on Ohio State was going to whip the shit.
I know you were.
I mean, I just knew that. I just knew that they were just going to dominate every facet. They spent all year looking at that score. I don't know what the score was, but blah blah blah. I mean, they had that on the dummies. They had it in the weight room. They had it everywhere. They were crossing off the end. I
definitely would agree with you. Bama over Ohio State in my book.
Right.
Better coach, better team, in my opinion. Bama.
So that being said, then it gets kind of crazy, right? But you just want to make it to the Final Four, and I think that so we can kind of roll into this week's and kind of the top 5 as well.
Let's do it.
We're just kind of throwing everything there, just mixing a pot, right?
I love it.
I mean, in my top 5 teams are just top 5 games are literally just all of the conference championship games. So you got the Big 12 championship, Utah, USC, Big 12, Kansas State, TCU, SEC championship, LSU, Georgia, Big 10 championship, Purdue, Michigan, Clemson, and UNC for the ACC championship. I mean, and people were saying, well, what if Georgia loses or what if Michigan loses? Like, hell yeah. Like, they would get knocked out, possibly getting knocked out of the top 4. Now, obviously, we don't think that's going to happen, but it'll be interesting. Let's say, again, if LSU dominates Georgia, right? I mean, are they out of the top 4? Probably not. So they drop down to 4, right? Does LSU jump in? Absolutely not. But, that's when you start going, who has a chance, who doesn't have a chance. So I guess at the end of the day, from our poll, when you look at it, Ohio State and Alabama are still alive, right? Because they're still alive at 5 and 6 when, as we've seen, any of the top 4 can lose. And because all the top 4 –
Utah beats USC, could they sneak in?
Again. That would be hard.
They've played some great ball this year.
Yeah. But now you're talking about Utah with a 9 – they would be a 10-3 record. Do they have a chance to be in the Final Four? Of course, you wouldn't let them in with a 10-3 record. But, it's crazy. So I think it's as much as we think these are going to be pushovers, it's going to be exciting. And I guarantee you, I'll say this here, just because of the craziness we saw this year, one of those teams is going to lose.
One of those teams is going to lose in the top 4. You heard it
and you
here.
Probably know who I think it's going to lose. But that's the thing. Anybody can be. What we've seen this year is anybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday. Wow. Thank you. How about we explain
That's your 2-minute warning right there.
How about we explain that to folks?
The end broadcast button. So right. Chris Zorich.
I will not press any more buttons anymore.
He looks like a puppy in the window, Cherie, in this pic. Please don't get mad at me for this. Wow. Yes, on Keep It at 100, Chris was a guest, but also has administrative access. And there's a button on the bottom that's red. It says Leave Studio. There's a button up in the right-hand corner that's also red. It says End Broadcast.
Exactly.
Guess what button Chris hit? So that was the story behind that. Chris is amazing. Every week, breaking down the top 16 teams in the land. Today, he did it once again, setting you up for championship weekend. Chris Zorich gave you all the conference games are the games to watch, clearly. The stories are going to unfold based on who wins and who loses in those games and how they perform in them. Could Michigan falter to Purdue? They let their guard down. Can USC get, his nails dirty and
lose to Utah again? Because that's the only team that beat them.
Exactly. Could they get revenge? Could they lose to Utah? Could Kansas State pull the upset? It'll throw the whole top half of this championship Final Four that college football has set up. They are going to broaden that like we had hoped last year. They're going to make the playoffs bigger, which I think is just going to be better for college football because then then Ohio State and Alabama are still going to get in this. Utah is going to get in this. And you're going to be able to see instead of just pontificate whether or not these guys are going to be good. Are they good enough to can they do what? Well, maybe no. TCU face off Ohio State. Let's see what goes down. And that's when the real answers get answered. That's what I can't wait for, Chris.
I just have one question. If that does happen, do we extend the weeks we're playing? Because don't you want to keep rivalry week? And if we do keep rivalry week, what happens to the championships?
Can you say rivalry for me again?
Rivalry week. Hopefully you didn't get that.
Yeah. I love it.
So
I can do without rivalry week. if it means playoffs. I want answers more than Georgia Tech.
Okay,
Seriously.
but now you have to consider, and then this is something that we haven't talked about, but what type of money does Michigan Ohio State bring into Columbus or Ann Arbor?
Well, that game will stay. You just move that week back.
Right. Well,
earlier.
There's a reason why it's at the last game of the year.
I know. Now we don't need that. We need.
Oh, you don't need it. Oh, okay. Oh, you don't. Oh, all right. Well,
we're going to get the answers.
No, as long as you're good, then it's.
Does that take precedence over getting the final? Yeah. You do? What? You think really?
So? Okay.
Well, we got to save this for next week's show.
USF. You deserve. What? All these teams that are
what are they putting in?
Kansas State, Washington. You think what's the top 12? Come on.
No. How many teams are they putting in the playoff?
They're talking about 12.
So 12.
Right.
I don't need rivalry week. If you're giving me 12, I want to see Tennessee face off versus Kansas State.
Right, but
and then Penn State versus Utah.
You're going to give up. Okay, you're going to give up Penn State, Utah for Michigan, Ohio State.
No, I said you move the rivalry game in the season.
Right,
at the very end.
There's a reason.
You just set the schedule up different. That's all.
Okay, so now we're starting a month before. We're starting 2 weeks before the season.
No, a week. You cut one of these games out, like Rutgers doesn't need to. Follow me.
But when you say cut a game out, I mean that's going to be somebody's home take. So now this home game, you're going to take a home game away.
Or you start in August. Start 2 weeks in August earlier.
Okay, so now kids only got like what, a week before they graduate. Then all of a sudden, a week later, they got to start practicing.
There you go.
They're not the pros, man.
It's pretty much the pros.
It's
as
pretty.
You know.
It's not the pros.
It's not the pros, but it's a job. When you played at Notre Dame, it was a job for you.
It was a job, yes.
It was a job for me at Hofstra, and that's on Division I AA. So I know
nothing wrong with that.
On Notre Dame, that was like a job. Everything scheduled, practice, meals, study hall, grades, guidance count, whatever it is, counselors.
Well, you had guidance counselors. I had a study.
Study, yeah, we had the study with we had two
tutors.
Yeah, two tutors.
Right.
Yeah, we had the same thing there. But anyway,
yes,
we'll be back. We're going to have to talk about this next week again.
Well, yes, we will, because next week, and I'm kind of pissed when I can be on before this, but next week on Sunday, ESPN's going to have their 4-hour-long show unveiling the Final Four with all the bowl games and everything. So that's going to be exciting. So I can't wait to talk about that on Monday.
We're going to be going crazy up in here talking about that.
Yes, we are.
Zorich is going to be fired up.
Yes.
The bowl games.
Yes.
How many bowl games are there?
Too many. And I always said, look.
The Weed Eater Bowl. That's the only one I care about.
I love me some bowl games. I do. I honestly love some bowl games. But we don't have enough teams this year. So now we got there's a few teams that may have to petition the NCAA who are 5-7 to see if they can say, hey, is it okay if we can be 5-7 and play in XYZ Bowl? That's not fair.
That's crazy that it's like that this year.
Yes. Well, it's been like that for a couple of years because they got a lot of bowls. But.
As long as Baylor gets in, I know you're going to be happy. I want to go to Fenway Park and see that bowl game in Fenway.
Who's playing?
I don't know. Guess we'll find out next week.
All right, so there's 43 bowl games, which means 86 teams. And
nice
right now,
math.
I think there's currently, only because I read this before, so, and I think there's like 79 or 80 teams that have, or something like that, somewhere that number that have records over 500.
UConn, baby.
UConn's going to a bowl game, baby.
Jim Mora Jr.
Okay,
Talk about a guy. He is my example of coaching. And you and I laughed because UConn was pathetic. I mean, it's a joke here in my backyard. And I said to a lot of these UConn alum who watch our network, they were DMing me like, no way, no one will come in there and turn it around. I go, you get the right leader of men, you're going to be turning it around. Trust me. There's an example. What a job he's done. I hope he stays and doesn't get offered the Colorado job with Dion.
Lord.
Oh my
That's a whole different
We'll talk about Dion next week.
Oh, he may be at Colorado by that time.
Do you think he takes that job? It's cold up there, Michael. It's cold up there, Michael.
I think we have to listen to what he says. And oftentimes it can be, I don't know. I just have a different kind of opinion. But
I can't wait to hear your opinion.
We can talk about that next week.
All right, next
awesome
week.
Awesome show, brother.
Great show. Once again, for the lady of the house even showed up tonight, too, with her Michigan takes and her Ohio State ass-whooping taunts. Lady Bear, 83. Follow her. Cherie, great job tonight. And for the All-American, 3 times CBS Defensive Player of the Year, national champion, College Football Hall of Famer, and one other stat that needs to be added to this.
You can just take a pen and cross out
Ron G, Russian Ronnie. We need to add this to it.
We can just
Former All Madden.
Hey ho!
Football player. Chris Zorich, tremendous job. I can't wait to talk about next week with all of you fans. Thanks for joining us tonight, tuning in to the Super 16 show. You pulled a Claudio at the end.
I think I did.
With the call. I love you. Go blue, Cherie says. Look at it.
Go blue. Go blue. Love it.
Big 10 championship, Pac-12, all of it. We'll be breaking it down next Monday night live here on TTNL, the Super 16 poll show with Chris Zorich. Later. Thanks for watching the Super 16 poll show with Chris Zorich. Like, subscribe, and comment. This has been a special presentation of the Tape Never Lies Network. Performance over politics.